Good morning and welcome to Daily Red Devil for all of your latest Manchester United transfer news and talk. Hope everyone is doing well on this Tuesday morning. Lots to get into on the show today. Before we do that, please do me a small favour. We are literally one subscriber away now from 42,000. So let's see if we can get that by the end of today. I'm sure we can do it. One more person needs to subscribe and we will hit that next target. So on the show today, we're going to be talking about Gyokeres, we're going to be talking about Rashford, we're going to be talking about Anthony, we're going to be talking about Garnacho, and we're also, of course, going to be talking about Bryan Mbeumo. So lots to get into. As always, I like to try and make my shows as interactive as possible. So I'm going to start the show off with a question. I want you to get in the comments section. I want you to have your say on this. The question for today is going to be about Bryan Mbeumo. So what I want to know from you is this. How much of an impact do we think Bryan Mbeumo, Gyokeres and Cunha are going to have on Manchester United? I want to get your thoughts. How much do you think we're going to improve as a team with that being our front three? Where do you think we'll finish in the table? Maybe it's a little bit premature. You know, some people will say, oh, well, we need to still sign a midfielder, we need a goalkeeper, we need a centre-back, we need a wing-back. Like, I appreciate we still need to fill lots of positions, but I want to get the fan base, you, the fans, mood at this moment in time. How are you feeling about it? If that was to be our front three next season, where do you think we'd finish? Would we get in the top half? Would we get top four? Let me know your thoughts. I'm going to answer the question now. So, and we'll also run a poll for the chat. So the poll is going to be this. Where will Man United... So the question is going to be, where will Manchester United finish with a front three of Cunha, Gyokeres and Mbeumo? Okay? So we're going to do top four, top 10, bottom half. So I'm going to give you three options here, all right? I'm going to keep it relatively vague. I'm not going to go into too much detail. So you have three different options. If that's our front three next season, and Mbeumo, Cunha, and Gyokeres, where do you think Manchester United will finish? Do you think we'll get top four? Do you think we'll get top 10? Or do you think we'll get bottom half? Now I've got to answer the question myself. This is always the hardest part. I always ask you guys the question, and then I have to put myself on the spot and ask it as well. I mean, that front three excites me a lot. It really does. I think it's as good. I mean, maybe not as good as Man City's. I would say it's a top four, top five attack, realistically. You know, you've got a player there in Gyokeres who's got 54 goals in all competitions this year alone. You've got Mbeumo, who scored 20 goals in the Premier League last season. You've got Cunha, who got, I think, was it 16? I think we'll get Champions League football with that front three. Obviously, fifth place is Champions League football now, so I probably should have done top five as my one of my poll questions. But I'm going to go top five, top four or top five. I reckon it'll be a much better season. Obviously, we won't have any European football, so we'll only be playing one game a week, I believe. Yeah, one game a week is our kind of expected goal. Well, it will be one game a week. Whether that's a good thing or a bad thing is up for debate. I mean, I like watching football, so it's going to be a bit weird being only one game of football a week. But from a squad's perspective, it means that Ruben Amorim's going to have lots and lots of time on the training field, which is obviously great. So from that perspective, you know, it's not a bad thing. But I think overall, from a financial perspective, to only be playing one game a week, you know, you're missing out on lots of TV revenue, you're missing out on match day revenue. So it's not a good thing from a financial standpoint. But from a squad depth standpoint, I think it is good. Right, let's see what people are saying in the chat. So far, 58% of people watching today's video think that we will get top four next season. Wow. I mean, it's crazy, isn't it? If I'd have said to you a week ago that 58% of the fan base think we're going to get top four, people would have thought we were crazy. But a couple of signings and everyone's opinions change. It always seems to be like this in the transfer window though, doesn't it? You know, people get positive and then we play the first game and everyone goes back to being negative again. So we've just got to keep our minds on the target. This is Ruben Amorim's first full season. This first 6 months has just been like a trial period. It's been awful, but I think it can only improve. So yeah, let's bring you guys the news though for today's show. So we're going to start off by talking about Alejandro Garnacho. This is coming out from Fabrizio Romano. Fabrizio is reporting that apparently Garnacho would love to stay in the Premier League, with 3 different Premier League clubs trying to sign him. Fabrizio's also said that Garnacho's priority is to stay in England. It would absolutely kill me if Garnacho stays in England. I mean, if he flops, then it wouldn't, but the likelihood is he'll go to like a Liverpool, a Newcastle, maybe not a Liverpool, a Newcastle, a Chelsea. He'll do really well and we'll look stupid, because that's always what happens. It's always what happens. We sell players cheap, they go off and do well, and we look dumb. So, yeah, hopefully that doesn't happen, but Fabrizio seemed to be reporting this morning that 3 Premier League clubs are trying to sign Garnacho this summer, and he wants to stay in the Premier League. So, yeah, not great. How would you feel if Garnacho ended up going to like Chelsea or Liverpool or Arsenal or Newcastle? How would you feel about that? Would you be happy? I assume you probably wouldn't. For me, we need to try and sell him to Spanish League, Italian League. We need to get him out of the Premier League. So yeah, that's my take on that. But Fabrizio is saying that yes, apparently Garnacho wants to stay in the Premier League. Yeah, I'm not particularly happy about that, but it is what it is. There's nothing we can do about it right now. Let's move over to Viktor Gyökeres then. So this is coming out from a very reliable Portuguese newspaper this morning, reporting that apparently Viktor Gyökeres is furious with Sporting Lisbon for not honouring their agreement to allow him to move for 60 million euros this summer. It says that apparently Sporting Lisbon are now valuing him at 80 million euros. It says Gyokeres has removed all references to Sporting Lisbon from his Instagram page. I don't know what to make about this, really. I mean, apparently there was some sort of gentleman's agreement between Gyokeres and Sporting Lisbon that said in the summer he'd be allowed to leave for 60 million euros. Now, flash forward to the actual summer, we're here, and apparently Sporting Lisbon have turned around and said, we're not selling you for 60 million, it's 80 million now. I appreciate that would probably annoy him, but at the same time, from Sporting's perspective, like, they need to make money. Portuguese clubs don't have the wealth of the Premier League, and 20 million euros is a pretty big difference. So, yeah, I feel like this is just a negotiation tactic. I feel like whoever wants to sign Gyokeres will get him for 60 million. They might try and start the bidding higher, but it might, it's just a negotiation tactic. It might be that whoever signed him have to pay more upfront, or there might be more in add-ons, or it's the same in every single transfer. There's always this back and forth. There's always this, the club are now asking for this, the player's asking for that. When there's no release clause, or if the club don't want to pay the release clause, you're going to have to negotiate, unfortunately. So 60 million is apparently what Sporting Lisbon were asking for, but now they're asking for 80 million, which is a massive difference. 20 million euros is a crazy amount of money. I don't think I'd pay 80 million euros for Gyokeres, to be honest. I think it's too much. I think we've already been burned before in the past with Højlund. I know Højlund is not on the level of Gyokeres, that's fair to say, but we did pay what? Was it 80 million for Højlund? How much did we pay for Højlund? I feel like it was a lot. Let's have a look. We paid 77.8 million euros for Højlund. I mean, that's crazy, isn't it? Transfer market value him at 35 million euros. So we paid more than double what Højlund's actual valuation was. I think Gyokeres is probably like a 60 million euros player, I would say. I think 80 million is inflated. I think 60 million would be fair. Maybe they can agree 60 million plus some add-ons, potentially. I'd probably be happy with that. I think 60 million, let's have a look. I mean, to be fair, transfer market values Gyokeres at 75 million euros. So maybe you give them 60 million euros up front, plus like 10 to 15 in add-ons, maybe. 60 million euros is 50 million pounds. To be fair, that would be a bargain. If you got Højlund for, I keep saying Højlund. If you got Gyokeres for only 50 million pounds, that would be a bargain. We have to be honest here. 50 million quid would be an absolute steal. So yeah, we'll see what happens with that one. But in all fairness, I get it from Sporting Lisbon's perspective. Of course, they're going to want to get as much money as possible. So, I'm not going to criticise them for that. I can understand from Gyokeres' point of view as well, that, they had this gentleman agreement. Sporting Lisbon said you could leave for 60 million, and now they've got greedy and said we want 80. I mean, it's annoying, but what can you do? What can you do, really? Fabrizio's also said this. He said, with Champions League football, I was 99% sure that Manchester United would close a deal for Gyokeres very quickly. That was the feeling I received. So, just to give that a bit of context, if Manchester United had have beaten Tottenham, Fabrizio's saying that he was 99% convinced that Manchester United would have then signed Gyokeres immediately, effectively. Obviously now the no Champions League football has affected us slightly financially. Some reports suggesting that apparently that qualifying for the Champions League from that Europa League final would have got us about 100 million euros. So that's including the prize money for the Europa League and all the rest of it. So it was a pretty big loss for Manchester United in that sense. But yeah, at the same time, we do still have money. I think at the moment we've got like the third or fourth best PSR PSR position. So, it's easy for us to say, oh, we don't have that much money, we didn't qualify for the Champions League, and all the rest of it. But we do still have money. We're Manchester United. We've got one of the biggest fan bases, if not the biggest fan base in the world. So this whole narrative that we don't have money, I think it's a little bit lazy. I think it's just another way of Manchester United scrimping on spending. So, don't get fully sucked into this whole narrative that we don't have money, because we do. It's just another way of Manchester United trying to not spend. And it's another way of Manchester United trying to negotiate lower transfer fees. So don't believe everything you read. We do have money to spend. Players are going to leave this summer. So just take that with a pinch of salt. Right, everyone who's just joined the video, if you could do me a small favour and drop a like. We've got over 500 people watching live now. We've only got about 100 likes. Let's try and get to at least 500 by the end of the video. And make sure you subscribe as well, guys. We're still one away from 42k. Come on, somebody subscribe and let's get that next milestone over the line. So yeah, that's the latest on Gyokeres. I still think it will happen. I think, again, we just have to wait. We have to be patient. Once a couple of players leave, I think then we'll start to see some more players come in. Obviously, we need Rashford to go. We need Sancho to go. We need Antony to go. And remember, the transfer window closes again. It's really, really weird. So the transfer window closes on today, actually. The transfer window closes today. So it's actually transfer deadline day. It's so strange, this, isn't it? So today is transfer deadline day, but then transfer window opens again on Monday. It's all because of this Club World Cup, isn't it? When does that start? Club World Cup fixtures. So yeah, the Club World Cup starts on Sunday. So I think the whole point of it was they opened the transfer window, which allows teams to register players for the Club World Cup. The registration date for the Club World Cup is today. Every player has to be registered by today. And then after that, it will reopen again on Monday next week. But obviously players won't be able to join for the Club World Cup then because they'd have already registered. Does that make sense? So yeah, very, very strange. Club World Cup starting on Sunday. How long does it go on for? It goes on for ages. Wow. It goes on until the 13th of July. It's like a month long. When does pre-season start? God, I mean, that's probably going to have a huge impact on teams like Chelsea and Man City, isn't it? And Liverpool in it as well, no. Is it just Chelsea? Yeah, it's just Chelsea and Manchester City from England. It's going to have a mad impact. If they get all the way to the final is on the 13th of July, right? When does the Premier League start? Is it August? Yeah. So they'll literally have 4 weeks from when the Club World Cup ends until the Premier League starts. Mad. But anyway, we're here to talk about Manchester United. So yeah, the window reopens on Monday, this coming Monday. Right, let's talk a little bit about Mbeumo. Now, the question we have today is, do we think that we're going to get a here we go for Mbeumo today? Obviously, the window does close today, people. So if we don't get a here we go today, I mean, we can still agree deals outside of the window. They just won't be able to make it, official. So the window closes today and then it reopens on Monday. In relation to Mbeumo, apparently Tottenham are interested as well now. We know that Thomas Frank is apparently going to move from Brentford to Tottenham. I don't know. I mean, if he chose Tottenham over Man United, I would be stunned. He's a boyhood Man United fan. He's already agreed terms with Manchester United. Why would he now suddenly decide to go to Tottenham? I don't think that will happen. I think Mbeumo's pretty much nailed on. And I reckon the here we go will come very, very soon. But in relation to new news around it, the latest that we've heard is that apparently Brentford want around 60 million. But the story from Sky Sports this morning is that Mbeumo wants to join Manchester United, despite reports suggesting Thomas Frank will try and tempt him to go to Tottenham if he takes over as their new head coach. So I wouldn't worry about that too much. I think, I think it's effectively done, that deal. So we'll see. A little bit more news on outgoings. So apparently Real Madrid are set to pay Alvaro Fernandez his release clause, which is 50 million euros. Obviously, he is at Benfica at the moment. We still have a big sell-on clause in that contract, so that should net us a bit of money. I can't remember what the sell-on clause is. Let me just have a look. Oh, gosh. Sorry, everybody. Let's have a look. I think it's 20%. Let me check. Yeah, 20%. So if he joins Real Madrid for 50 million euros, we would get 10 million. And obviously that's 100% profit because he's come through the youth academy. So that would come along nicely. 20 million profit in the bank. I'd be happy with that. Forever Red says it's probably looking like 50 million plus 10 million in add-ons. Yeah, I think that would probably be realistic. I don't think Manchester United will pay 60 million up front, to be honest. I'd be very, very surprised. I think 50 plus 10 sounds about right. So yeah, hopefully we can get that one done. I don't think it's going to be today, people. But like I said a couple of minutes ago, we don't need to do it today. We just need to, we just need to, get it done before the transfer window closes, effectively. So yeah, I wouldn't worry too much about that. I wouldn't worry too much. Right, what else do we have here? Okay, let's see what else we've got here for today. So we spoke about Mbeumo, we spoke about Gyokeres, we spoke about Garnacho. Let's have a little look at the results of the poll. 63% of people watching today's video think we'll get top 4. 36% of us think we will get top 10. And 1% of people watching think we're going to get bottom half. Wow. So there's a real positive mood in the fan base now. I guess, the prospect of signing Gyokeres, Cunha and Mbeumo has got people excited. I mean, I think it will mean we get goals, and that's what we're missing. So I understand it. I think if we can get some goals added to this team, then we should be in a positive place realistically. So yeah, I'm just going to do a little recap. So Mbeumo, Tottenham apparently interested, but he wants to join Manchester United, so don't worry about that. Gyokeres, angry, very, very angry that Sporting Lisbon apparently are not honouring his 60 million euros gentleman's agreement to leave this summer. They want 80 million. And Garnacho, apparently 3 Premier League clubs are in talks with Manchester United to sign Alejandro Garnacho. So it's all happening at the moment. Lots and lots of deals obviously still to be done. The window does close today, but reopens again on Monday. Deals will still happen though, even with the window closed. So I wouldn't worry about it too much. So I think I'm going to end the video there, guys. Don't want to just keep going over old news, so I'm going to keep it relatively short and concise. I hope everybody has a great day. I will be back again tomorrow. Yeah, I'll be back again tomorrow. Have an amazing day, everybody. Don't forget to drop a like, leave a comment, subscribe, and I will speak to you all at 7 a.m. UK time tomorrow. Bye for now, everybody. Speak to you all later.